Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly GSC News Podcast. We are recording on Thursday, the 1st of May, 2025. I am your host, as always, Harry, aka Knavish Crayfish. And we have got another full panel today, but one of our squares may look a little bit different this time. If you're a viewer, and something it may sound a bit different as well in a moment if you're a listener. But with me today, we've got Mark, aka We Woke in the Hive. How you doing, pal?
Hey guys, good to be here. Fresh on the back, a lot of Claret's gear and South of Midnight, so look forward to chatting about that a bit later.
Excellent, good stuff. And he's back with us, our resident thespian. That's Adam, aka Oh No, Not Addy. How you doing, pal?
Yeah, not bad. Fresh off the back of opening night last night of our latest show. It's been lots of fun. Breezebot Park by Willie Russell. Lots of fun, lots of laughs, good audience. But I'm good, yeah. Very busy, but it's nice to be doing it during the day. So it's lovely to see you guys.
Yes, yeah. For us, currently the UK members of the team are recording at our morning, which is very new for us, very exciting. We all get to see each other in actual natural sunlight for once.
I don't like it. I don't like
it at all. And yes, and that does mean, of course, that on the other side of the world, it is currently approaching nighttime, bedtime. And that voice you just heard is our fourth square for today. And no, it is not V. It is, in fact, Frase, aka Fbombe, who is joining us now. How are you doing, buddy?
I am definitely not as good looking as V, but at least you'll be able to understand what I say. Maybe.
Oh,
maybe.
We had to replace you with somebody whose accent is equally hard to distinguish.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. We can't make it easy on you. Definitely not. No, but Harry, I'm doing fantastic. Like you said, it's my evening. Had a very busy day at work, but my work's very rewarding, so can't complain. Happy to be here. Can't wait to talk about some games with my friends.
Yes. This has been something we've been trying to get to happen, obviously. But again, time zones, as everyone can imagine, it's a bit of a pain. But yeah, so we managed to get Frase for us today, which is really exciting. And, as our first guest, which I think is lovely, as it were. Obviously, he is
much appreciated.
Yeah, of course, you are part of the GSC team. But yeah, as far as the pod's concerned, you are the first fresh face, which is really cool to have. So yeah. Of course, if you are just stumbling across this video, we are the Gamer Social Club team, as it were. This is our weekly news podcast that we like to host. But if you are new to all of us here and all the rest of it, we are a gaming-centric website that covers all sort of gaming news, reviews, previews, editorials, guides, interviews, all manner of things. If it's written, we normally cover it over on our site, www.gamersocialclub.ca. We are also across all social platforms. If you're wanting to follow us, always follow the site. So over on Twitter or X, we are at gamer_s_c. And then over on Blue Sky and Threads and all manner of other things, we are at Gamer Social Club. Of course, all of these sort of things, including our socials here, for the four of us, will be down in the description below, as well as what we've been chatting about and things like that. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. And yeah, if you have any questions for us or any feedback or anything at all, please leave in the comments below. And if you enjoy it and would like to see more content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. We obviously have this weekly news podcast, and we do chuck up the occasional interview. I did one recently with Steve Margolin, who is the lead designer over at Ivy Road, who led design on Wonderstop, a wonderful cozy game that came out last month. And we sort of dived into sort of the game's design and its in the way he had to try and bring the themes of the game through the gameplay and stuff like that, which is really interesting. So yeah, we have those sort of things going up and occasional guides as well. And yeah, we're always trying new things here. So yeah, if you're a fan of gaming, as we are, please come and join us. The key thing to know about the Gamer Social Club is we run everything as far as the news and what we like to cover on the site, in particular through a sort of no rumors, no BS filter. We will only cover stuff that we know is, at least at the time, true and fact-based and has sources and all the rest of it. We don't go on hearsay. So that whatever you're reading from us is, at least at that moment in time, the facts. And yeah, all driven by passion. We're all gamers here, wanting to make this for other gamers. So yeah, if that sounds like your sort of thing, stick around and yeah, welcome in. With the rigmarole out of the way, we can move on to what we've been playing. And I think it's only fair as the guest, our first guest, that Frase leads the charge on this one. So yeah, Frase, what have you been playing?
Before you start, can I just say how good?
Oh my god!
Rigmarole is such a good word, isn't it? I love
And you,
the word rigmarole. Is
you pronounced it so well. Like
thank you.
That whole intro just was brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Thank you very much.
I could just listen to you talk for hours, Harry.
Well, hey, with my interviews you can, so there we go.
ASMR with Harry.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, what I've been playing, I can tell you, I have been so busy this month. I haven't even got a chance to play. I haven't played Adamfall yet. I haven't played the first Berserker yet. I haven't played South of Midnight yet. I haven't played Blueprints yet. I haven't even looked at Oblivion. I haven't even. I downloaded Expedition 33 and I had to remove it to make space for the other fucking bullshit that I've been playing.
But
no. I am having a fantastic time with games at the moment. There is so much happening. Usually I'm like, up until kind of joining up with the GSC, I've always been the big flashy AAA guy. I just loved all my AAA games. But as I'm kind of deep diving into indie, boy, there is some magic out there. There's some absolute magic. So I reviewed Drug Dealer Simulator for the site a few weeks back. I can tell you, as a non-drug dealer, I found it quite difficult. People were asking me for things that I just didn't even know what they were. So I'll be like, no, I don't have any of that. And then I get marked down because I do have it. It's just called something else. So I really struggled with that.
The most naive
weirdly
enough,
yeah, right. Weirdly enough, it was released in 2020 on PC.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
and
okay.
It got a console port this year, like a couple of weeks ago. But there's also a Drug Dealer Simulator 2, which is newer and better. But they didn't port that. They chose to port their first game.
Oh, weird.
Well, they want to give console players a little taste, and then.
But it was terrible.
They released the second one. Come out.
No. Like it was fun. It was fun, but I had to force my way through it. Unfortunately,
no.
That was
unfortunate.
You know, that's part of those. And then I stuck in with the Sims. So Crime Scene Cleaner. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about that.
Yes, I've been seeing quite a lot of buzz around that one.
Crime Scene Cleaner Simulator. It's brutal. Like you walk into a room, and I don't know if you've seen like Dexter or anything, but there's like there's a crime scene, and it's not just a little crime scene. There's like 15 bodies, and you have to go around and remove them. You put them down the garbage chute, go and clean up all the broken stuff. You got a mop, and you're mopping away. And if your mop fills up with blood and you don't realize, you're just mopping blood everywhere. Dude, it's wild. It's wild. But I am so close to getting the platinum for it that I'm charging through it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What a hoot.
Loads of fun. But what I really want to talk about is Kyborg. You've probably seen me talking about it in the chat a bit. I reckon 6 months ago, they released a demo for it. And the demo was just like a little combat demo. They've taken... So it's by Sobaka Studios. They were the team that made, I don't know, like Redeemer was their game.
Oh, yeah. Never played it, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
So it's like a arena brawler with weapons and stuff. So they've taken that idea and they've merged it with the early like Batman Arkham Asylum combat. So you are flying around these arenas from person to person, just ripping people apart. And there's a roguelite element to it. So every like time you win a level, you get to choose a weapon or a modification or an implant that drastically changes your combat style. It is so much fun. So much fun.
It looks
really,
great.
really.
And again, I know you've obviously been kind of like up with it since the demo came out, because I remember you chatting about it all those months ago when I'd only recently just joined. And you were very much like raving about it then. And yeah, it sounds like they took good sort of player feedback and just kept iterating on it and such. And you've got you've got a review out now that went up only a couple of days ago.
Yeah, the review it came out. I think it came out last night. The game,
not even.
and the review was the day before.
Ah, right.
So yeah, definitely check that out. There is a story. Story doesn't matter. You've been committed in prison for committing war crimes against something.
Classic.
You've got a 1,300-year prison sentence, and when you die, you just get brought back to life to continue suffering. So that's the whole loop of this fight.
Right.
Prison. You just fight till you die, and then they bring you back, and you fight till you die again for 1,300 years. And I can tell you, I've put about 40 hours into it, and I'm going to put another 40 into it.
So that works for you then? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. 1,300 years, bring it on.
Yeah. I love it. And so is it a single player game only, or is there a multiplayer component?
Yeah, no,
just single player.
Single player only. All platforms. All platforms have a demo as well.
Nice.
Console demo is like a weird. They've called it the arena demo, where it's just the arena, which I guess is like the end game stuff. But the PC demo is like more of the story stuff.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
sounds very cool.
Loads of, and then I've got 3 other things that I'm not allowed to talk about. So,
yeah, you are a busy man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You are a very busy man. Speaking of other busy men, Adam, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing? Yes, I'm playing something I can't talk about. Which take up a lot of my time, which is very annoying because I've got Cloud Obscure 33 Expedition hanging over me and I really want to play it and I can't because I need to get this other thing done. But I did give myself a little breather yesterday because new Sniper Elite Resistance DLC dropped yesterday. So there was a new map dropped with 3 new achievements. So I had to jump in that and get myself back to full completion. When I did it the last one dropped, I was the 3rd person on True Achievements to complete it. I was so close to the first. I was like, oh, come on. At this time, I was the 30th person, because I was busy.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to be on it. Wait is yeah. But the DLC was really fun, actually. You get dropped into, it's still Harry Hawke continuing kind of what he's doing to undermine the Nazis, and you end up at this kind of really nice like fishing harbour town villagey type thing, and there's a V1 rocket built into the rock face with like a castle above it and stuff, and you've got to try and disrupt this kind of V1 base type thing. It's really cool, actually.
Cool.
Lots of snipers like lurking around, but I really enjoy it because I just go straight in on authentic because obviously I want the achievements, but I also love the challenge of it. And just popping guys from 400, 500 meters away with the right trajectory and the bullet drop and stuff is it's very satisfying. So that's always fun. Since we last spoke, I did South of Midnight, which was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I mean, big thespian person musical, and I quite often think about, oh god, why don't they do like musicals as a game? Like there's like a proper. I don't think there's enough that embrace that, and I know it's not, but it almost feels like it because the music is so good, and they got the proper singing when you're fighting the bosses and stuff like that. But it's choreographed really well. There's a bit because I often wonder how would they do it because obviously musicals things happen at certain beats, and in boss fights, they've got these songs that sing about the boss you're fighting. And if you don't get to a certain bit, they just repeat like just a lyric bit of the music, and you get to the next bit, and the lyrics kick back in. But the music, I very rarely listen to a gaming soundtrack because I'm just like, well, I have plenty of other stuff to listen to. But I had the soundtrack on for like Two-Toed Tom and Rougarou. I love Rougarou. It's such a good song. It's proper, like the whole vibe of South of Midnight is just amazing. The whole Deep South, the folklore, the kind of the style of it, the stop motion-y element. Oh, I just absolutely loved it. It is just so good. I mean, we are eating good in 2025, aren't we? I mean, like across the board, like Frase, you were just talking about all the kind of hidden gems and indies and stuff like that, and then you got all these kind of bigger titles that are doing well as well. It's not just the same churning out stuff. It's just there's such good stuff out there. I can't get over how good South of Midnight was. Absolutely loved it. Got the 1000G, fully completed it. Did the no hit bosses.
Well done. Well done.
Yes, but it was like, fully recommend that. That was super fun. Absolutely had a great time with it. So yes, that's all I've been playing. I've not had a lot of time because I've been rehearsing and practicing and now performing. So hopefully, well, I say hopefully it'll calm down after this week, but I'm starting my next show straight away. So
Yeah. And the games aren't stopping either, I'm afraid.
The game's not stopping either. Just Christ. Oh, I did put 30 minutes into Oblivion just to see the difference. I did a comparison.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Yes, which is very good, and recommend that definitely. We'll make sure that's linked below as well, because that's a fantastic little comparison bit. You did that.
I really want to play that. I put about 400 hours into the original Oblivion, because that was my first Elder Scrolls experience, and I absolutely loved it. So I was kind of really wanted to see, the difference and compare it, and it just brought me back. I spent a whole summer playing it, and it was just amazing. So I can't wait to do it again almost. But there's so much other stuff to play as well, but it's so good. It's like a proper... They've done it right, haven't they? Like I me myself included, give stick to these remakes that didn't need to be remade. Last of Us Part 2. Horizon. It looks slightly shiny, but like that's a full blown remaster, isn't it? Like fair play. So yeah, lots of stuff to play, lots of stuff being played. Just good times, isn't it? Good times.
Good times.
Oh, so good.
Absolutely. And to carry on the good times, Mark, what about you, buddy? What have you been enjoying?
The guys have basically said what a ridiculously good year we're having this year. I think it's the best year since 2007, and I'm sure I said that on the podcast last week. It's nuts. So yeah, likewise, not got to Oblivion properly yet. That's really high on the list, but I just don't know where that fits in. I've been getting through South of Midnight a little bit further than when we were here last week. I think I'm on chapter 9 now, and I've heard that the later chapters of the game are a bit shorter than some of the earlier chapters. But so far, it's been fantastic. And to echo what Addy said, the story's great. I really like the characters, and I think that the protagonist, I think she's brilliant, and some of the people that you meet on the way have got good, interesting stories. So I've been really enjoying that. And Addy also mentioned the Two-Toed Tom song, which I just can't get it out of my head. Just like osmosis in my brain now. But yeah, I'm having a really good time. Slightly feel robbed by not getting one of the achievements for no hitting a boss, which bugged me. But that just means I get to enjoy a chapter once again. But yeah, had a really good time with South of Midnight. Hopefully wrap that one up in the next couple of days. Aside from that, one game I want to highlight, because I think we're going to talk a bit more about Claire Obscure anyway. It's a game that I've popped a review on the site for called Fbombe Tangled Together, and I imagine that's probably not many people know about that. But for those of you who've not heard of the game, it's a small indie, and it's very much a Vampire Survivors-like in a little vegetable patch, which is really kind of pleasing, nice aesthetic. And ever since Vampire Survivors, I lost my save between PC and an Xbox on the cloud last year. I can't bring myself to go back to Vampire Survivors after about 50 hours. But this is absolutely scratch the itch. So lots of replayability. So loads of really cool kind of vegetable themed weapons. So pumpkin bombs, bow and carrot, which I thought was a good name,
Oh, nice.
banana swords. So loads of options to upgrade weapons, and it's got that rogue style element to it as well. There's always an opportunity for another run, and each run's only 10 minutes too, so a bit shorter and snappier than Vampire Survivors, which works for the kind of time that I have to play games. But reviewed that on the site, gave it a 7.5, and really that was a respectable score. All for the price of a coffee. Maybe not one of Frase's fancy ones, but certainly a cheap one that I would consume. But that's available on all platforms now. And if you like Vampire Survivors and you've done all the DLC, but you still got the itch to scratch, I really do recommend picking that one up, guys. So yeah, that's been my gaming time for the last week.
Fantastic.
The time thing's really interesting for me, because that's what kind of gets me with roguelites. It's like you do a run and all of a sudden you're like 40 minutes into the run and you're like, I gotta end this at some point, but I can't, because then I have to start again.
Yeah.
That
was
so that 10 minutes.
I did with Vampire Survivors, and I'm playing one called Spirit Hunters, which is a similar one, but some of the there's a lot to do with it, like Vampire Survivors. But I recently discovered that you can increase the speed of it. So there's on Vampire Survivors, there's like a little fast forward sign, and if you go to the fast, it's like the fastest. I mean, it gets a little harder because it's like you kind of you misinterpret how quickly something's moving at you, but like on the middle speed, it increases the time, so you're not spending as long in the level. I think Vampire Survivors has a slight time increase, but on the latest free content drop, there's an item you can find in one level that lets you permanently speed up the level, so that you can just like power through it and like you just tap RB and it just flies, and it's so yeah, your time then ticks at the same much faster as well, so you can play through them quicker. But I agree, you've got to it's like, oh my god, why am I 30 minutes into this level now? What's happened? Because you think it's only 15 minutes, but every time you stop to level up, it adds time, and it's never 15 minutes, is it? It's always longer.
Yeah. As I said, I was like, my experience with Blueprints, like whenever you're on a run and you're like, I don't know if this is you with that game as well. Like, it's very much that sense of like, is this the run? Is it not? I don't know. I could cut this early because it doesn't feel like it. But then again, something might change. I might get a certain room, you just can't make those calls unless you're maybe going after a really specific thing, and like it doesn't work out for you. If you need something in the first couple of rooms you enter or whatever, then like fair enough, start again. But otherwise, you never know, it could be the one, and that's part of it. That's the love of it, isn't it? Which is great. But yeah, I have been playing Clair Obscur Expedition 33. That is literally all I've been playing. I've jumped off once or twice to a little bit more Blueprints because that game keeps pulling me back. There's still so much more to it, even after doing the review, which is great. But at the same time, I've been really, really, really enjoying Expedition 33. I won't go crazy into detail here because I am reviewing it for us, and that should hopefully be up for Monday coming up. But yeah, I'm in the final act, and yeah, I want to hear what Mark has to say about it. And if you guys have any questions, obviously, please ask. But yeah, this is again one of those cases where, you know, I want to see how much of an impact this game has as far as future RPGs, and like whether or not we start seeing more of not even like a broadening, because this is not even a new type of RPG. It's steeped in traditional RPG, JRPG mechanics in particular, but it's just the approach to certain things like narrative, as well as, you know, the world itself, the creativity involved in it. You know, I don't know, I've been banding an idea back and forth in my head of whether or not, you know, fantasy settings and or fantastical settings, whether it's sci-fi, fantasy, or whatever, are the best for games, just because they allow you to have such creative flexibility. You know, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is a world full of new ideas, and it doesn't really stop to explain any of them to you. And it works because you just learn about it through experiencing the game. You know, you'll hear just something being described. A good early example was the fact that you keep hearing about a thing called the gommage, which is this, it sounds like an event. I'm talking about the Gommage coming up, your Gommage, this sort of thing. And eventually you learn through listening to characters talk to each other and interact with one another. This is this event that occurs every year where a certain amount of the population of a certain age disappear as part of this horrifying yearly event where the paintress, this far off, sort of quasi godlike being, is painting on a monolith, that a number that ticks down once every year and kills everybody of that age. And that is referred to as the Gommage, which is French for, if I remember correctly, it's sort of to like wipe away, to clean, basically. So the idea being like to be erased, basically. So it all makes sense, as it were. But like if you're a non-French speaker like myself, going into that, the Gommage just sounds like this sort of like, this sort of eerie kind of mystical event, and you very quickly learn what that is, and everything then makes sense, like about that particular detail, which I thought was it's just this really excellent way of storytelling. It's not you're not getting big blocks of text thrust at you after a particular thing is described. You don't have to go into an encyclopedia of like different words and what all their meanings are related to the story and things like that. You will pick up on everything as you play it, which for me has been an absolute dream to experience, because you don't get many games like that, or if you do, they're few and far between, sadly. But yeah, Mark, what are your thoughts? How are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic, Harry, and I think you're right. I think it will bring back some of the old school RPG tropes, and Candy on our site wrote a really good article about some of the old school and more modern turn-based games to look out for if you're, this is scratching a really good itch. First of all, the game looks stunning. I've been playing on my monitor for a little while, but then I took it downstairs onto the main TV, and it's a whole different experience. So I felt like I'd robbed myself for the first hour. The storytelling is great. I'm not very far. I've just left the manor for the first time, so probably 4 or 5 hours in. I've been getting my butt kicked by the timing. I definitely struggle with that in the combat, although I was able to beat the chromatic Lancelier without power leveling first. So I was quite proud of that, even if it did take me about 40 minutes and probably equally as many goes. But it was worth it. It was satisfying in the end.
Definitely.
But the one thing, I'm so impressed so far, and as Frase said, since being with Gamer Social Club, I found myself juggling more games than one, whereas before I was someone who just stuck with one at a time. But yeah, this is a fantastic game. I haven't played a turn-based RPG for a long time, especially on a home console. But the one thing that I do want to say about the game, and I tweeted about this earlier in the week, is obviously the industry narrative of game development time, game development costs going through the ceiling, and everything just taking longer, and therefore the consumer's got to pay for it, all these increased costs. However, Expedition 33 has come out and retails here about under £45. I've seen it for. It's developed by a team of just over 30 people for like the core team anyway. And when we compare that to big budget games, which we're told take 7 to 10 years to build and come out with half the content, half the quality, half the QA, I just think that they've given a bit of a middle finger to the industry with that, and I'm really impressed. And I think that's a real hats off to the team. This is their debut game, and they've absolutely smashed it. So good on them. And it sold 1 million copies, and hopefully it sells 1 million more pretty quick. So, but the game is superb.
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing about that number, that 1 million milestone as well, is that it doesn't include anybody on a subscription service as well. This is full purchases of the game, which is great. Whether it's digital or physical, they don't make that discrepancy. But regardless, that's people who have paid full price, or close to full price for this game within its first week of release, which is fantastic for a new IP. For as Mark, it's one of those games that seems to be kind of bucking a lot of trends. At least as you say, it's sort of really going against the narrative that a lot of certain studios or publishers may have been trying to set. A while ago now, Square Enix was sort of it's like, oh, you guys don't really want turn-based games. You don't really want that. And it's like, well, the market seems to state that it does actually. So maybe consider in future, and obviously they do with some of their titles. But yeah, it's one of those where often a narrative will be set up in order to that requires fulfilling, and it often doesn't get fulfilled. Similar to EA with single player back when they were saying, "Oh, it's dying off," and all the rest of it. It's like, is it though? It's very much. Is it though?
Yeah.
But yes, yeah. So I'm glad you're enjoying it as well, man. Do you guys have any questions? Because obviously I know that neither of you have started it yet, but like, and I know you could have probably done all your own research already. But yeah, like, is there anything you haven't read about that you want to hear? Anything talked about at all, or any thoughts of your own you want to share about it?
I'm just really looking forward to playing it. To be honest, I just really want to jump in, and I just got to get through the other stuff first.
Yeah.
I'll get there.
Yeah,
And play it.
I'm the same. I'm really excited to play it. I was really excited about it, and then when I heard it was turn-based, I was like, oh, I don't know why I don't like turn-based. Like, there's so many turn-based games that I like, but then when I heard it was turn-based, it was like, oh, I don't really have time for that. I don't know why I don't have time for that. I've got time for other stuff. But then seeing what they mean by turn-based, it's kind of turn-based 0.5 or something. There was an old PlayStation game called Legends of Dragoon. I don't know if you guys ever played.
I've got my physical copy right here. One of my favorite games.
And it kind of gave, like, that's turn-based, but it's like interactive turn-based. It's not just picking a move from a list and like, oh yeah, I want to do this attack, go. Yeah, it looks really exciting, and I cannot wait to. I mean, like I just rattled off my list before. At some point, I'll play it.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
Exactly. Yeah. The ever increasing backlog that we will have.
Yeah.
The one thing that all gamers share.
Oh, I know. Mine's just embarrassing. And because I've got a physical Xbox 360 collecting addiction, and I'm just buying all of these old 360 games. I'm like, cool, I'm going to play this. Oh, never. Put it in the pile.
Yep.
Like, I didn't even get a chance to play our game of the month this year, Vanguard. Like, I've played it before, and it's a brilliant game, but I don't own it. So I went out and I bought the like special holographic cover. Yeah. I'm like, oh, great. I'll play this some point.
Yeah.
It's gone in the pile.
I didn't get to Vanquish either. I just wanted to play it. Still on my list.
Yeah.
When you have the time.
That's right.
There's too many games, as we've already said.
It's a nice problem to have.
Oh yeah, and as we said, even just with the first 4 months of this year, you could spread that out, and the year would still be like, yeah, this was a good year, and we've got
was like this, in terms of like the release window has been so sparse. There was nothing out there, like 4 games or whatever. Like, there's more than that, obviously, but yeah, this feels so different, doesn't it?
Yeah. The cadence has picked up.
Just one last thing to add on the Expedition convo before we move on, and about kind of approachability to the game. And Harry, you mentioned, of course, yes, it's on Game Pass on console and PC, and that's how I'm playing it. But I think I've been put off big JRPG and JRPG style games for a long, long time in my adult life because of the time they can take to complete, and I find that too intimidating. But I think if people are sitting on the fence and they're like me, have been put off by that in the past, this is something that you can do in 30 to 40 hours. So it can be a big time saver compared to some of the Final Fantasies and other mega games that could go on forever. So definitely worth checking out and having a really good time. And I know that Harry, you're loving it too.
Yep, absolutely. And again, I will have my review up for that for Monday. So please do visit the site to check that out. But yeah, I think it's going to be, like many, a pretty positive review unless something drastic happens. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, you can expect probably some pretty positive words from me as well, added to the heap. But yeah, that's what we've been playing. So let's move on to some news. Of course, there's a couple of quite big stories that happened recently. We'll see what we can get to. We're just over the halfway mark here. So why don't we talk about what has only just recently happened involving Respawn, and of course the big shakeup there. It seems like that's just occurred, leading to, I think it said something between 300 to 400 layoffs, something like that. I don't think there was an actual solid number given, or at least I haven't seen one. As well as a lot of talk of projects, internal projects that we weren't aware of, getting shuttered or put on the back burner. Use whichever analogy or metaphor you'd like there to kind of fill that out, as it were. But yeah, there's been quite a lot of turmoil, it seems like, to a certain degree, over what's been going on at Respawn. And it involves the Star Wars license, involves one of their biggest IPs with Apex Legends, and then of course a longtime fan favorite, Titanfall, which is got a lot of people in a bit of a tiz, I think, and I can kind of understand, especially when you hear about these things happening. But yeah, who here's got some experience, or who here's got history with something like Titanfall? Have we all played? Yeah, show of hands, as it were. Yeah, I think it looks like yeah. We all enjoyed some Titanfall back in the day. I definitely remember, enjoying the first one, thinking it was really wild. The mixture of pilot and mech combat and stuff like that really was just so cool and exciting, with the wall running, and the sort of game that I feel like could actually be released now if Titanfall hadn't existed back, in the earlier days with the Xbox One and stuff like that, and 360, and actually just was dropped today. Everyone would go like, "This is hot. This is new. This is fresh." Which I think speaks volumes to the IP. But yeah, Titanfall 2, of course, excellent campaign, many memorable moments in that, kind of up there with things like Gears of War and Halo Reach. Campaign. Yeah, really stellar. It's one of those situations similar to what I would say about like when I remember playing Wolfenstein New Order, being like, the type of game this is doesn't deserve to have the narrative it has. The narrative is so good, and yet it's mech soldiers fighting space war, or BJ beating up Nazis. It's like these things do not deserve the epic narratives they have, are so well delivered, and yet it works so well at the same time. So yeah, how do you guys feel about then, like the news of the sort of the Titanfall project, and I believe it wasn't going to be 3, of course. It was a kind of a different sort of game, wasn't it? They were going for.
I feel like I read somewhere that it was going to be an extraction shooter.
Yeah. That's right.
Which I am all about. I've dropped off PvP so much in the later years of my gaming time.
Yeah.
And what was so cool about Titanfall is it had the PvP, but then it also had the PvE element to it.
Yeah.
So turning it into an extraction shooter actually seemed like the right next step. The best thing that Call of Duty has done in the last 10 years was that DMZ kind of beta that they put out. Phenomenal. I've never had so much fun with Call of Duty in fucking forever. It was so good. So I'm gutted that something like Apex Legends has kind of been a reason to not get a Titanfall, because personally, I don't hate many things, but Apex Legends sucks. It's not for me. It's not for me at all. I've had friends try to get me into it, and maybe if it had a PvE element to it, I might like it. I know it's big. I know a lot of people love it, and I don't want to yuck on people's yum, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
And to take something that could have been amazing, to put more resources into something that, I mean, how well is Apex Legends doing at the moment? Is it still
doing really well?
Like, it's still going, obviously.
Yeah, it's a case where it's still going. It's still one of it's Respawn's biggest title, but obviously it's also their EA, aren't they? EA being Respawn's publisher and all the rest of the parent company. But from the financials we were getting, I think it was end of last year, maybe even early. No, I think it was end of last year, but would have been announced earlier this year. That both Apex and FIFA, while still making more money than God, are actually tailing a little bit now. They're starting to drop a little bit in how much revenue they're bringing in, and that was all also brought up at the same time that like Veilguard was being mentioned. Of course, it's like, oh, this is the reason why things are happening, and of course, people were using that more as a kind of like this is the focal point, when actually it was probably more to do with the fact that their biggest money earners are actually starting to drop a little bit, and that probably was what was eating into EA's situation. But they're still not, they're not struggling in that respect, but from the messaging they were putting out, they do seem to be sort of doubling down on Apex, whether that means it's sort of an Apex 2.0 or just a full refresh of the original game. Who knows? And then of course, Star Wars, their biggest obviously license with Disney. That's not something you can just stop, or start to ignore. You have to probably feed the beast in that regard with that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting situation, I imagine, for Respawn to be in, because they probably haven't. They no doubt want to do Titanfall stuff, and hence why there was a project being done. There was something in the works. But yeah, you can only imagine that with when EA comes a knocking and says, "Hey guys, what are we working on here, and what can we not be working on?" That's when cuts get made, and it involves then several hundred people, unfortunately, losing their jobs, because Respawn is no small company. EA doesn't deal with small unless it's through the EA Originals program. That's the only way they'll touch anything, indie level or anything like that. So it's a tough one. It's a business situation. It's a business decision that makes sense, but to us, obviously, as gamers and fans and people who want another Titanfall, whether it's an extraction shooter or a 3 or whatever it might be. Again, I'm not big into the genre, but I am more inclined to pick up something like an extraction shooter over a multiplayer shooter nowadays. I look forward to games like, I know it's not an extraction shooter, but FBC Firebreak, the multiplayer shooter coming from Remedy, set in the Control universe and everything like that. Like, that looks wicked fun. I look forward to jumping over two others, hopefully of our team, and trying to destroy a monster made out of sticky notes. With a water gun and a jetpack and stuff like that. That sort of stuff to me is really exciting. And Marathon looks really cool. Looks far too difficult, but again, that one's interesting because it's doing the marriage of PvE and PvP. And with the Titanfall extraction shooter project, you could have easily had one mode which was just PvE and one that introduces PvP as well. So you could feed both audiences who wanted that multiplayer fix, as well as those who were like, oh, no, let's just do it, as a group of 3, a group of 4, one of us able to call in a mech at the beginning, and then, or whatever, like all sorts of fun stuff like that could have been happening.
Yeah.
But it's an odd
Very disappointing, but like you said, it's a business decision. Would we rather have the possibility of having it later or never at all?
I feel like it's really short-sighted though, because like from a business decision point of view, like Apex is set in the Titanfall universe. As Titanfall set up the world for Apex Legends, right? So if you bring Titanfall back, you can weave it into the popularity of Apex, because some people won't even realize that Apex is part of the Titanfall universe, right? So you can like tie it in and make it really kind of interconnected, a proper universe type thing, and build on the Apex popularity to further Titanfall. I mean, Titanfall is popular in its own right with a lot of people, but like, it just feels short-sighted in that. They don't want to do the work. I'd love to know what the conversation was about why they made that decision. Titanfall, it felt like something that didn't exist before. Like, I loved the first time. I spent like 200 hours, and it's one of my proudest full completions, like in terms of achievements and stuff like that. I got them all. Like, it's a little extraction element at the end where you've got to try and escape the multiplayer bit, where you've got to kind of extract. And I love that. And killing all 6, killing everybody before they can escape was I love that. I love that I've got that achievement. But all of that, and then they've got the story behind it as well. The stuff with BT and stuff in Titanfall 2, and just amazing. Like, to have such a good, well reviewed. I mean, they absolutely sent it out to die. That's notorious in terms of when they released it, and that is all on them on EA's point. And they keep just kind of bludgeoning the franchise. Like, let it happen. Just be. But it's that whole taking a risk thing, isn't it? Just like do it.
Yeah.
Just like you say, they've got more money than God. Just try it and don't send it out to die. If they're feeling gun shy because of what they did with Titanfall 2, oh, people won't buy it, they don't want to do it. Like, well, that's your fault. Look at your marketing strategy. Don't release it next to your biggest game that year, which is Battlefield, and then Call of Duty the other side of it. That you morphle you. Who needs 3 shooters in 3 weeks? All doing very similar stuff. Like, it's just silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gutted. I mean, obviously, feel for the. I mean, there's 100 from Respawn and 200, 300 from other studios, but like, you got to feel for those guys because it's brutal, isn't it? Like, they've got to be working they really enjoy, and then like, oh yeah, we're not doing it anymore. Bye. It's just horrendous, isn't it? Like, there's just I feel for those guys, but yeah, I'm just gutted because I love the story and like I like it. I liked what I've played of Apex Legends, but it's something I just jump on every so often, and it's not something I'm investing my time in because I do like Destiny and other stuff. I don't want to complete the battle pass. I don't want to. It's not my life. There's a million games to play, and I can't dedicate that much time to it. But something like Titanfall, it gets its hooks into you, and you play it for a bit, and then you get done with it and move on. You can still remember all of the fun stuff, but like. It's not a career. It wasn't a career game. So yeah, I would have been all for an extraction shooter. Give it a go. Yeah.
Yeah. Mark, I want to hear from you, but it goes to your point that you said earlier, Mark, about Expedition 33 of, this is what we were talking about with the industry and the kind of the bloat involved now in all these AAA projects, even when they're in the early stages of development, hundreds and hundreds of people, no doubt millions and millions of dollars have gone into this Titanfall extraction shooter. And now hundreds of people no longer have a job there. That money's gone. The project's no more. What do we have to show for it? And as you say, then over is there somewhere like Samful Interactive, with a team, an eighth, a tenth of the size, with a fraction of the budget, no doubt. They've got backing of the right sort of people with Kepler Interactive, who I think have got NetEase behind them subsequently. But at the same time, that was clearly a game that was sort of focused and designed from the outset with like, these are our limitations. We can't go beyond these walls of like finances and all the rest of it. So we keep to these restraints, and they did it. They managed to pull that off. But sorry, wanted to hear what you had to say, Marco.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's going to be quite controversial. And first of all, I want to say that the thoughts with everybody that's lost their positions this week, that's absolutely bullshit. And that's clear studio mismanagement. EA have messed up big time there. But if we apply the kind of my thoughts to the actual Titanfall series specifically, I have to be honest, I completely agree with the business decision. I liked Titanfall 1. Titanfall 2 failed, and Addy's right. They sent it out to die between Call of Duty and a new Battlefield, which both were huge. I don't think we've even had a conversation about this in our Discord on the site before. That Titanfall 1 was amazing. It was something new. Titanfall 2's multiplayer, once you'd done the campaign, was just more of the same. And I know it's paradoxal because I'm a big Call of Duty player, and you could totally make the argument that that's the same thing every year. And I play a fair bit of FIFA. That's the same thing every year. But Titanfall, by the time the second one came out, I just think the buzz had died. And I think if they were looking at a extraction shooter, I think you can probably look at how mid the reception has been to Marathon. Like, nobody's really excited about that. And that's an extraction shooter. Frase mentioned the DMZ mode in COD, and that died. That lasted a year. Nobody's playing that anymore, and it's Call of Duty. You've swept it under the carpet. So I think kind of what they were chasing in that space, I think it probably is the right decision. I like Titanfall. I think it had a time when it was great. Possibly argument where there was nothing else going on for Xbox. There's completely an argument for that. But ultimately, I think I'm not going to cry about not having another Titanfall. The campaign in 2 was great. If another one came out, I'd probably play the campaign and never play the multiplayer again. So I have to be honest, I kind of get it. And if they're going to focus their efforts on a new Star Wars game, which is clearly doing numbers for them, they're going to focus on Apex Legends, which I used to love. I have a lot of time in that game. And they're going to continue to get the player base returning for that. I get it. Now, I know that's controversial, but I don't think we ever need another Titanfall again. So can get some funny looks, I'm sure.
No, I think I like this. I love this. I think this is great, and I think you raised a very valid point there. Which at the end of the day is, what would Titanfall have had the legs to carry on as a series alongside all these other juggernauts, and then would going into the extraction shooter genre have worked, knowing full well that nearly every AAA studio currently around right now is trying to make their own extraction shooter. I mean, we look at PlayStation and their whole debacle with having a dozen of their own first-party studios all making multiplayer games, and half of those being extraction shooters, some of which have been cancelled. Concord came out and then left. I mean, I know that was more of a hero shooter type thing, but they've got the Fair Games title from Haven Studios. You've got Marathon, of course, through Bungie. And then there are other ones out there, or either they're already out or supposedly are coming like that. Is that Hyena's game? Is that still happening?
Yeah. What about that?
You know what I mean? Like they're almost now getting close to a dime a dozen. Now, I don't want them to fail, but at the same time, if the market ends up being that crowded, there has to be one that rises to the top. That's what always happens. The best example of this sort of thing happening is literally when Overwatch and Battleborn came out at the same time. And Overwatch completely obliterated Battleborn, another great multiplayer hero shooter game, which actually had more content with a campaign and all sorts of things going with it. But Overwatch was, the Blizzard game. It was their new big IP. They set the bar with that, and that's what hero shooters became, as opposed to what Battleborn was doing. So it may have struck at the right time, as you say, back then. But yeah, with EA's poor decision making, which seems to be a bit of a trend. We all know this, but it's a tough one to call. I would love to have seen it, if anything, just because it would have been maybe interesting and different to have seen the DNA of the original games trying to be brought into an extraction shooter when it already seems to be so closely linked, as Frase and Adam said. But at the same time, I'm then thinking well, maybe go for more of a mission-based thing. Make it like an Armored Core, sort of title where you're picking your loadout before each mission and you're going out into the environment, and it's still a first-person shooter sense, but you've got particular objectives, and then you can get different loadouts, and you're whatever. I don't know. It could have been. I think it could have been done in many different ways, and still have possibly found an audience. It's just whether or not it probably was a big enough audience for EA to be happy with at the end of the day. Respawn would no doubt be thrilled regardless, but does it meet the demands that EA expects? Who knows?
I think it's just sorry, Harry.
No, go on.
Just I think it's just an issue that the industry's given itself in the shooter space. You've got 3 battle royales that kill it: Fortnite, Apex Legends, and Warzone. A few other slightly smaller. Your extraction space, you've got Tarkov and a couple of others that somewhat scratch that itch. And then you've got your main multiplayer shooters. So you've got Rainbow Six and you've got Call of Duty. Anything else is just struggling to find room in that space. And you know what? If that's what the industry wanted to do to itself, then that's its own fault, isn't it? Really?
I just think that there's a world in a world where I feel like I'm just thinking about you were saying, Mark, about the big battle royale and how do you break into those space? Can you imagine having a Titan drop into Fortnite or Warzone, do a mode where you do a proper crossover, like DC versus Marvel in the thing, and you get Titanfall in Warzone, and then you get Titans dropping into the map, just as a different mode, just to give it a go and give people a taste as a way to say there's other things out there. But if these companies are a bit more up for doing stuff like that, how cool would that be? You could then expose people to a risk, I suppose, because then Call of Duty isn't going anywhere, and Call of Duty isn't going to struggle if Titanfall actually released a new game, right? So if you had a crossover with Titanfall, and yes, Call of Duty might drop some numbers for a bit because, I'll give that a go and I'll go play that version of the game. They'll come back to COD because they love COD, right? But you give it a way to as a platform, because Call of Duty is becoming a bit of a platform, isn't it? With the horrendous hubby thing that exists, like. Put it in there, like give that crossover, let it happen. But you can't imagine Activision going, "Oh yeah, let's get a competitor in on the show." Like it doesn't happen.
No, unlikely, sadly. Obviously, there was a time, I guess, when maybe it could have happened if Respawn, the team that did Titanfall, stayed with Xbox, and they started the IP, and now they own Activision. Maybe then they could have push the dolls together, make them kiss.
Well, see, I think like what Eddie was saying about there's so many of these different types of the same type of game, and it needs to be something different to get in. I know it sounds like someone's getting a fucking fax, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know who that was. Yeah.
The one game that it just needs to have a different setting, right? So I don't know if you guys have played Hunt Showdown. That is an extraction shooter that has been going for years. It's been going for years and years and years. And it's still getting content updates, and it's still getting DLCs, and it's still getting events. I don't know how big that game is compared, if Titanfall came on and, did the same sort of thing. Like, how big does it need to be for it to be a success? Like, can they say, right, I'm just going to throw a random number out there. We've got a $5 million budget. What can we do with that? Can we make something, put it out there, see how we feel? It only costs us X amount.
Yeah.
It means we only need to sell X amount of copies. The Titanfall people will buy it and they'll play it 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I don't think it comes down to sadly what the studio could do with what they were given to the thing. I think it's very much just EA's like their expectations of like what the return would be. Like you said, Hunt Showdown I know is a game that's been doing very well for itself. But I imagine, I don't know who develops / publishes it, but unless it's another one of the big dogs, I can only imagine
I think it's Crytek.
Oh, is it Crytek? Well, they're an interesting one, of course, because they're quite experimental in that respect, aren't they? Though that's the thing, because they're about their engine more than anything else. They make games to kind of prove what their engine can do. Hunt Showdown kind of being a good example of that, alongside the Crysis series. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I guess that for them, that's a wonderful success that maybe they weren't even banking on, because of course they're all about what's making the game run as opposed to making the games themselves. So I don't know. It's an interesting one though. Do we have any other sort of final thoughts as we sort of start closing out this episode on the EA Respawn Titanfall?
It made me think.
I'm glad that we're getting that last Star Wars, the third installment of Jedi.
Yes.
They'd cancel that as well. Come on.
Yeah. It made me think though, like, because we're talking about, like, when Frase talked about indies earlier and the conversation around Soundfall Interactive around Claire Obscure, but like, if you've got a team who are passionate about what they're doing and like just love it and have you give them the time to cook and stuff and just like look what that can be produced.
Yeah.
And like the big wigs of the big companies answering to shareholders because they get a bit worried or whatever else because the numbers on the screen drop a little bit. Like that's not a good game if the numbers drop. Like the game is good when the game comes out. That's what the product is what you should be focused on. And like Titanfall 2, well, we don't do any more in the Titanfall series because the numbers aren't good. Like, well, doesn't make it a bad game and more people should have played it, but that's your fault. But they don't blame the execs. No execs lost their job.
Yeah.
Expectations. They'll just go to a studio or cancel a franchise or put it in sleep or hibernation or whatever else. And it's like, let people do what they love. I mean, look at Compulsion with South of Midnight. Look at that labor of love, and look at that what came out. I haven't played Claire Obscure yet, but like you can tell from what everybody's saying that people absolutely love it. Like, just let people do what they love, and that, you know, word of mouth. It doesn't have to be all about marketing budgets and stuff. People will talk, "Oh, have you played this? Oh, I'm absolutely loving it." Like, there is something to that. It's like Netflix. Or, you know, again, if a TV series hasn't done gangbuster numbers in the first week, we're gonna cancel season 2. We're like, well, give it a chance, man. Crying out loud. I haven't had a chance to watch it. You cancelled it after the first month. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm not investing in it now because you've cancelled it. It's the same thing with games, isn't it? If you're not going to support it, I mean, I can't think what game it was, and like, can't believe they're still supporting a game. Like, even though it's done really badly, struggling to get going, and then they just keep going with it. I can't think what game it is. I was like, fair play, because a lot of places.
Skull and Bones.
Yes,
Skull and
Bones. That was it. Yeah, fair play. I mean,
it's getting It's got year 2 roadmap.
Yeah,
mental.
Mental. Because like, especially Ubisoft as well. You think they just drop it?
Well, also, and
because
again,
they dropped Extra Defiant, didn't they? They dropped that like a fucking whole.
Yep,
and
the poetic sort of ending note on all this, I guess, unless again we can anyone wants to add anything, is the fact that a bunch of the people who work at Claire Obscura Expedition 33, the people who set up Sample Interactive, were Ubisoft devs. Yeah. They had this idea. Ubisoft had Claire Obscura Expedition 33 in the palm of their hand. But again,
they were like, nah, this makes Skull and Bones.
The same game. There'll be a battle pass. And,
absolutely. They would have massacred it. It would have been ruined completely. It would not have been the game it ended up being, no doubt. But to think that they had that there, they had the source. They just didn't want to try it, you know?
Yep.
There we go. Right.
That's exactly what EA. Sorry, Harry, just one final thing, and just bringing it back to kind of coming back to what you said and think applying that to EA. That's essentially what they did with, in many ways, with Dragon Age. They chased trends. They were going for a live service, then it was multiplayer, then it was single player, and then I think they bounced around for about a year before people knew what the fuck the game was. And by the time it came out, nobody really knew. And and that fell on its knees because they just mismessaged that. And I think there is. Of course, companies are going to chase trends. You know that's just in human instinct anyway, and that's what people do. But I think that kind of creative foresight is only afforded to smaller studios now. I think that so much creation from the big players has gone away, and I don't think it's going to be coming back whilst so many shareholders are involved. But that's the state of the industry.
Like the amount of amazing indies that I've played that have cost me less than a coffee versus some of these things that like just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Only in the games industry. But yeah. Anyway, obviously we would have loved to have touched on Borderlands 4, which had a state of play deep dive onto the gameplay. We a very quick 30 seconds to 1 minute impressions from everybody here, if anybody watched it. I myself played Borderlands 1 and 2, fell off after that. Always loved, the aesthetic, loved a lot of the humor from the earlier games, and love a good looter shooter. But ultimately, once you've had a lot of something, especially with Borderlands games because they were so big and there's so much to do, and playing it again and again and again, I think I just burned myself out on it. But this looks cool. I particularly like the move sets. It looks like for the two Vault Hunters we saw. Not sure about their actual designs for me personally. They kind of feel a little bit toned down to what we've usually had in the past. Like I felt there was quite a lot of quite strong silhouettes with the the first, second, and third at least entries, and the pre-sequel of course. I don't know. That's just me though. But yeah, looks cool. Very flashy as always, and I love that they're doing some big changes. In particular, one that stood out to me was just the fact that now your heavy weapon / grenade is on a cooldown, saying it's no longer like ammo based, and it's no longer like, oh yeah, like it's only worth using on bosses. It's like, no, use it when you can. Like, I'm like, good, thank God. Like, why are we limiting ourselves that way? But yeah, Frase, what are your initial thoughts on Borderlands 4?
If you were to ask me 6 months ago, are you interested in new Borderlands? Probably not.
Yeah.
But after watching that today, I watched it on the train ride home. I'm hooked again. Like I think it looks brilliant. Fantastic. Like you played 1 and 2 a lot. how I usually did Borderlands is I would just burn myself out on them and then wait for all of the DLCs to come out and then burn myself out on all the DLCs. 3 didn't get me. The gameplay loop was fun, but the actual villains were atrociously written, and they were just trying so hard to be edgy and funny that it just missed me completely. Who knows what 4's going to be so far? Like the little humory bits that they've shown looks great. I'm excited about it. I'll be checking it out 100%.
Yeah. Adam, Borderlands 4.
Well, I think I'm still as Frase. I think I even said it on a previous podcast. Like they have to do something different to hook me in, because it was just more. If it's more of the same, then why should I play it? Because I was a bit like, I don't want to like. Borderlands 1 and 2, absolutely loved it. Then burnt out because Borderlands 2 was insanely huge. And then I tried Borderlands, but it just didn't. It didn't grab me, and again I was like, well, what's new about this? It's just the same stuff, and there's so much to play. But no, I mean, I've not watched the state of play in depth yet, but it looks really cool from what I've seen so far, and I actually really like the look of it, and I'm glad that I like that they're bringing in the magic stuff, like which I guess they did with the Tiny Tina Dungeons Dragons-y type stuff. So that's cool, and whether it's enough different, but from what I'm seeing is that they are trying different stuff. They're not just resting on the laurels, I suppose, and maybe they've heard the feedback around Borderlands 3 from the likes of us, not us specifically, but yeah. But no, I'm intrigued to see more, so I hope it's good because it's on my fantasy league.
Bias.
Did you see? There's now, I think there's a total of 9 or 10 different weapon manufacturers. And each weapon has 4 different attachments from each manufacturer.
Oh my god!
So you can have like a Jacobs shotgun with a Torg magazine, and that fires electrical nonsense.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a good way to do the infinite loot, isn't it? If you just keep getting your attachments like randomly continue to generate, then like, it's not just about the guns, then, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Even more guns. Who'd have thought? Mark.
Who'd have thought, right?
Who'd have thought? Mark, what do you think?
I'm not really qualified on Borderlands to really add much. I dabbled in 2 a bit, but just kind of fell off it quite quickly, which is surprising because I love shooters and I love kind of open world to explore, but it just didn't click. So, and everything I've seen, it just looks to be more of the same. So I'm pretty sure that it probably won't. I also have the broke brain tendency of if something's a number 4, then I can't play it unless I've played the first 3 anyway. So I'm going to struggle to go back to start at a number 4.
Yeah,
and I think
I'm like that.
Yeah, the one of the things to add as well is that I think they were, from what I remember back in the day, like largely co-op heavy, and I think we all know as grown-ups now, trying to tie people down to play co-op games at our age is just a joke. It's just not possible. So I don't really want to sit and play through all that experience on my own. So sadly, I don't think I ever will. But yeah, for those that look forward to it, I think there will be a lot of good stuff for returning players.
Well, maybe
Randy did mention that this is the perfect place for new people to jump in,
there you go.
the jump in and out multiplayer as well, as well as being able to have different difficulties for each of us. So if the 4 of us are playing together and I've played heaps, I can have it playing on hard. If Mark's jumping in straight off, you can put it on easy to catch up. Like, I don't know. It just...
Yeah, there's a lot of accessibility, it seems, to this one. Again, the cross-play as well, and a new setting, new planet, as opposed to being on Pandora, which is the original one for the first 3 or so games. So yeah, I mean, they've definitely done a lot to try and make this game one that people can jump into. And who knows, now that you're here at the Gamer Social Club, maybe we can get a crew together. We can find our own crew of Vault Hunters here.
Yeah. It gave
Exactly.
me a little bit of a Destiny 2 vibe as well with the events. Like they mentioned that there were going to be events happening. There's like mini dungeons. There's all sorts of like weird things. So like I said, 6 months ago, couldn't care less. Now, I'm probably going to get it day one.
The old switcheroo, I love it. Full 180.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, in that case, yeah, I think that's going to be all our thoughts then on Borderlands 4 for now. We'll no doubt come back to revisit it as it approaches. But yeah, we'll round off this episode of the podcast like we always do with what we're looking forward to. And I'll just say real quick, obviously, still doing my Claire Obscure thing here. But as far as I'm concerned, the two games I'm probably most looking forward to that are coming up soon are The Midnight Walk, which looks like a fantastic first-person sort of stop-motion kind of horror vibes, kind of, again, very sort of Tim Burton-esque inspired aesthetic. Looks very creepy. Lots of interesting monster designs and things like that, which I'm looking forward to. And then Revenge of the Savage Planet, which I remember playing the first one a lot, Journey to Savage Planet, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, I think that both of them are coming out within a week or a week and a day or so, basically, which is exciting. But then also, hey, busy, as has been the trend of this episode. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Frase, how about you, man? What are you looking forward to coming up?
Mate, going to be playing more Kyborg, 100%. Midnight Walk as well. That looks just so gorgeous. Yeah. And I've told myself, like, May, I'm actually going to give myself a chance to play something for me. Whether I do that in my sleep, you know, that Rick and Morty episode where they got the night people and the day people. I'm just going to do that. Make that happen. Yeah. And yeah, Doom. Just stop.
With a resounding bell, Doom. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Adam?
I'm looking forward to Midnight Walk. I'm tempted to give it a go on PSVR 2 because they are releasing it on that as well. So I'm tempted to give that a go and see how that works. And another VR one I'm looking forward to is Zombie Army VR, which I think I mentioned previously. Which is good because Rebellion are just cooking at the moment this year. Just bring it on. I'm looking forward to that. But Elden Ring Night Rain is at the end of the month. Yeah. Lots busy time, and that's not even including Doom and everything else in between.
No. Thick and fast. Exactly. There's something for everyone. Mark, what are you looking forward to, bud?
I'm looking forward to crossing off some of my backlog, which is just ever growing. So I think it's the topic of the podcast every single week. So I'm going to make a big dent in Claire Obscure over the next few days. And also, I'm on holiday soon as well, so I need to pick up a new Switch game to take with me. So I'm thinking about something like Echoes of Wisdom, the Zelda game that came out last year, which was something I missed. But yeah, aside from that, Doom, I've got my controller coming in the next few days, so that'll have me ready to rip and tear, ready for the game when it drops on Game Pass. I think it's May 15th. Sounds about right.
Sounds about right, yeah.
My neighbors are gonna hate me. I'm just gonna turn that metal up so loud that I can't even hear myself breathe, and I'm just gonna go.
I love it. I love it. We're all gonna live out our Doomslayer fantasies soon. It's gonna be great. Yeah. But yeah, that has been this week's GSC Weekly News Podcast. I want to thank, in particular, Frase for joining us, obviously, for our guest today and our first guest and member of the podcast and the team. Thank you very much for being here, buddy. Staying up late with us, of course.
No. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure chatting with you guys. It's not even late. It's only 8:30. I've got another hour and a bit before bed.
Excellent. Bit of gaming time then before bed.
That's it. Exactly. My wife's out. She's doing something.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I might even pull the Xbox out into the lounge, mate. Live it up large.
Ooh, love it. That's like the old days. Love it. That's great. Yeah, well, that has been this episode. Thank you again, Adam and Mark, as well, for joining me, as always. And yeah, we will be back next week, no doubt, to talk about more great gaming news, what we've been playing, what we're looking forward to. We Doom again next week, I imagine. But yeah, thanks very much, everybody, for joining us. Obviously, follow all the links and stuff below in the description for anything, whether it's our work, the site, or our socials or anything like that. And yeah, we hope to see you again soon. So take care, everybody, and play some great games. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.